Pallone for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Ortiz, I want to ask some questions about how FERC could implement the GRID Act. This bill allows for FERC to review proposed federal actions that are likely to have a significant impact on the bulk power system. It also allows for a state public utility commission to initiate a process that would require agencies to turn over detailed information on decisions to FERC and for FERC to issue detailed comments to an agency on their proposed action. Now, you know, there are 50 different state public utility commissions, and it's easy to imagine that one of them finds something it doesn't like in nearly any federal rule or regulation from basically any agency. So does FERC currently have the staffing capability to make judgments on the impact of every federal regulation or determination on the bulk power system? And if a state PUC were to object to every federal rule, does FERC have the capacity to provide detailed comments on each rule back to these agencies?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. Let me take up a response through a couple of ways, and I think a more detailed response regarding how the Commission may implement this legislation would probably be best for technical assistance. But there's a couple pieces. One is that determination piece, and the law is written as I think extreme electric reliability impacts, or no, negative electric reliability impacts on the bulk power system. We would have to come up with a standard for that extreme reliability impacts in order to be able to implement effectively the rule. And then reliability goes far beyond a resource adequacy analysis. It goes to broader interconnection-wide effects having to do with just the behavior of the system on a second-by-second basis. I have a very, very capable team of engineers, but I currently do not have the interconnection-wide models, nor some of the data that I think, at least personally, would be necessary to truly implement that. It's not to say that we couldn't build that capacity or engage with others to get it. So, I mean, I think there's a number of technical implementation details, but I think from the standpoint of the Commission, if we were to be able to work those out, it would be feasible to implement the rule.
Well, thank you. And then building on that, Assistant Secretary Rodriguez, it sounds like the GRID Act could really stand in the way of DOE's work. How will this bill affect DOE's ability to meet statutory obligations and timelines for updating and finalizing new standards?
Thank you for that question. First, let me state that at the Department of Energy, we absolutely believe that interagency coordination is a good thing. However, as your question foretells, what the GRID Act does is by creating, quite frankly, a vague standard around a significant negative effect, we believe that the practical real-world impact will be state commissions, some state commission somewhere will take every single rule, every single proposal that comes up before us and put it into this process. That will slow down and probably make it impossible for us to meet our legislative and court-ordered mandates in terms of timing for the standards that we have on the list now. But more importantly, I think what it does is it delays improvements that actually help the American people by making the grid more reliable.
I appreciate that. Now, let me ask you again, can you detail DOE's process for efficiency standards rulemaking? How does DOE engage with stakeholders and what is already factored into proposed rules? Isn't DOE already required to ensure rules are technologically feasible and economically justified?
Absolutely, that is the case. So technologically feasible and economically justified are, in fact, we are legislatively mandated to go through that. But I think the most important part for every member here to understand is that we have not just a rigorous process, but a very deliberative process in which at every step of the way, DOE reveals its assumptions, its modeling, everything that goes into our consideration, and that's revealed to all participants, all stakeholders in the process, so that they can inform us, their perspectives, their contrary analysis, et cetera. The process grinds slow, but it ensures that every voice is heard, every perspective is weighed, and in a deliberative fashion so that the end result of a rule, whether a rule is propounded, amended, or decided that we don't have to make a change. It is done on the basis of not just DOE analysis, but everyone else's stakeholder analysis as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank the ranking member. I'll now